All right, so we are going to be doing some print making here. And with the print making, we're going to be using linoleum blocks. I just call them lino blocks. It's kind of like a rubber right here. These are kind of stiff, but a helpful hint, you can put them in the microwave for like 10 seconds. It makes it nice and soft and you can carve it a little bit easier. But we'll be carving into this, rubbing our ink over it, and then printing down our different images. We're going to be doing a selfie type print right here. I have an old selfie print from way back in college days. I cannot find my original print, my original carving or anything, but I found this practice one right here. Um, what it basically is that we are going to be outlining our basic shapes of our face and then extending the shadows around them, connecting almost kind of like a big old blob. See, if I turn this around, it looks like a big old blob, really. Well, especially if you don't look at the eyes, because eyes are always a giveaway. So, another example of one is this one right here. It's just simple shapes. The main difference between these two, now this one's still well done, but it would have been a lot more captivating if the picture that was taken from was in a drastic lighting, like lots of shadows and lights, and maybe it zoomed in a little bit more. Nice clean lines, like I said, but with the connected shadows along with the face makes it more captivating to look at or more interesting to look at. Simple lines like this is okay, but we are going more for the wow factor or the captivating factor. Now, since I can't find my old one and I need to make a video, I have a new selfie right here. So what I'm going to do, 5x7, that's what I'm using, and I have my 5x7 block. Now, when I printed this out, I try to do 5x7 the best I can. It was a little too long, so I just traced this to make it fit, so I know I don't need to worry about that at all. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be tracing my face with the basic shapes, and then I'm going to be transferring that image onto my block. I'm not going to be worried about the actual drawing of the face and making sure the proportions are correct or anything. I'm going to be tracing. All right, the first thing you need to do, I went ahead, traced it, but realized I had a lot of extra paper, so I just trimmed the edges right here. And then on the back side, I covered it with my pencil lead. Now, you want a good covering of your pencil lead because whatever you don't cover, it's not going to show up on your block. Now, I don't have that done because that's the outside of my paper. To help keep this in place, I'm going to go ahead and tape the edges down so that it won't move on me. I'm going to trace around my basic facial features first, like around my eyes, my nose, outline of my hair. Now I got crazy hair. I'm just going to do the basic outline of it, and then I'll show you how to use some simple lines to simplify curls. Like this one I did right here. I just added some swirls and everything. Because honestly, if I do all this, it's just going to be too much. We're simplifying the face into simple shapes. Okay, so I'm going to trace this, and it should show up on here. For an example, tracing around the shadow on my neck, I'm going to press down hard. And again, I'm just going to kind of guess along where that shadow will stop around on my neck. Think of it as just shapes, and I'll show you. If I take this off, that shape will show up. All right, I'll be back. So I traced it around the basic shapes. I extended some of my shadows around my face as well, like underneath my eyes, under my nose, things like that. So when I took this off, you should be able to see just the shapes of your basic face right here. Now, it can be a little confusing of what to carve and what not carve away. So after this stage, I usually take a marker or a Sharpie and I color in what I want to leave. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit about this, especially around my hair area, since it can be a little confusing, and I'm going to use this as reference. Alright, so what I did was I outlined my pencil drawings with Sharpie around exactly where I knew where I wanted them for sure. And now before I start filling in, I need to make sure my shadows in my negative areas will match up, because I don't want to start carving and realize, oh, I want the background to be white, but I also want my cheeks to be white. And I don't really want to leave just simple outlines around my print, because most of the time simple outlines will start breaking away, like my original glasses right here, or they can become flat looking within your print. So always try to keep your lines and your shadows and your light areas more of a blocky tones. So filling it in with Sharpie helps a whole lot of figuring out what works or doesn't work. That I have filled in all the areas that I want to leave black for my print, I'm going to start going in with my carving and carve away everything I did not touch with my Sharpie. Leave the Sharpie, carve away everything else, because that's going to be the white of the paper. Now, with our carving tools in the lid right here, just kept all the little heads for our tool. Right there, you cut out different types of blades. I like to start off with the tiniest one to do some line work. Now, sometimes with these blades, they can get bent and everything, and it does not want to carve well. So you want to look at the heads of these and make sure they're not bent and they're nice and sharp still. Okay, so then you can see right here, there's an eye and an eyelid in here. The part with the area with the stamped words, you want to slip it in between the eye and the eyelid. Tighten it up. I'm going to put the rest of the tools in here so I don't lose them. Oops. Now, when you carve, don't carve towards your hand, or you may jab and gouge out flesh of your hand. That will really hurt. When you do this, you want to try to carve away. And also, don't try to carve away the whole entire section all at once, or you're going to jump and skip and you're going to ruin parts that you didn't mean to ruin. Do it by little, and it will be a lot smoother and a lot cleaner, rather than trying to take out giant chunks all at once. Again, leave a little bit of wiggle room. Don't go right up against the line at first. You want to get your main areas, and then you can take more refined line and clean up your edges. So I went ahead, carved all the spaces that I wanted to leave white. So whatever I carved, it's going to be the white of the paper. Everything I left black is going to be the ink. But I'm going to go ahead and do one print and see how it comes out. And then I can go back and do any other refinements of things that may need to go a little bit deeper, or a line didn't work, or something of that nature. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead, add my ink to my plate. Use my brayer to kind of spread it out. You don't want to have too much ink on your brayer, or it's going to just seep down into the nooks and crannies of your board. So you hear that little, you want that. Okay, move that over. And I'm going to do a first coat. Now, as I am inking this, I forgot to mention, you do not really want to have a whole lot of really white areas within your print, or there's going to be more bound of little black spots popping up where you do not want them. I'm going to move this. I'm actually going to lay that down, then lay my printing paper on top. And use the soft pads of my hand to go over it first. And through the printing paper, you can sometimes see the outline of your image. from here, try your best to get all your little edges. Then another tool that works really well is actually using a wooden spoon. Then you can do your little trick. I got some more. All right, so once you think you got it all, time for the moment of truth. Not bad. Okay, so obviously there's some areas that I need to clean up, and I'll go back, wash this off my plate, and recarve some of the areas that need to be retouched up. So one thing is I need to rub my plate a little bit more because it's a little kind of hazy in some areas. Adding a little bit more ink as well would help that out. I need to go back and carve away these extra little spots that are popping out because I want mine to be clean lines, no little hatch nicks or anything like that. But overall, I'm pretty happy with my design and how it came out. Just for touch-ups and then reprint, and I can maybe try out in different little colors and things like that.